Headline edition.
Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Josh Poed with you for another edition of First Contact Radio. We're here Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Hope you are well today, wherever you are in the world. Let's start things off with our 13-moon calendar for today. Today we're at the beginning of a new wave spell. Remember, a wave spell is a 13-day period of time, coded according to 13 tones. Today is tone number 1. Yesterday was tone 13. It's called the jumping tone. Today is the magnetic tone at the beginning of a new wave spell. The symbol for today is the seed, and because it is a one-tone day, the guide is also the same as the symbol. The guides are the same on the 1s, the 6s, and the 11 days. Other than that, you just add 13 to whatever that guide is, and that takes you to what the next guide is for the next day. So today's the yellow magnetic seed, guided by the seed. The phrase is, I unify in order to target, attracting awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power doubled. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Tuesday, May 17th, 2011. Today in the show, we're going to catch you up to date with what's going on with the new Madrid fault zone, with the national level exercises they're having on out there. We're going to talk about some other issues in the world as well. To get things started, though, as we do each and every show, we're going to have the cosmic news with our very own Dirk Bradshaw. Just make sure everything is queued up. Dirk's ready to go. Let's see what we got here. There's that. Well, I think we're just about set here, folks. Let's see, here we go. All right, this is Can You Handle the Truth? This is Dirk Bradshaw on the Cosmic News for May 17th. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
We flew to jolly old England to ask the internet what was the greatest thing on it. Internet, what is the greatest thing on you, the internet?
Hello there. Yes, let's see. I will scan now. I see that. I scanned over 3 billion sites, and overall, I would have to say freeinla.com is by far the greatest thing on me.
There you have it. Over 3,000 things to do. Free in Los Angeles. Freeinla.com rules the internet.
I did not say that it ruled me. No one rules the internet.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. Brought to you by CosmicNewsNetwork.com. Hey there, boys and girls. It is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight there are several implications of an advanced anti-gravity craft that was back engineered by humans using alien technology. All of the anti-gravity technology is, of course, in the control of an organization that is conducting the UFO cover-up. This organization is so heavily infiltrated by those evil, notorious cabal types. Tonight, Dr. Michael Wolff explains to us that, regretfully, the cabal has complete control over everything we know, hear, say, see when it comes to UFOs and UFO technology. And he should know, he was a high member of that special studies group, formerly known as MJ-12, buried within the National Security Council. Tonight, we reveal a good portion of the infrastructure protecting this cabal. I hope this segment connects a lot of dots for a lot of people. Tonight, we take a walk through the rabbit hole of above top secret government black operations. I wonder, can you handle the truth?
Alien visitation of planet Earth is a phenomenon that has been reported throughout human history. It's only in recent times, since the advent of atomic energy and the innovation of rocketry and space exploration, that the aliens have started becoming increasingly interested in what we were doing and began to interact with us. Many fighter pilots during World War II reported seeing Foo Fighters, disc-shaped craft that sometimes appeared as glowing orbs of light. This UFO appeared over Los Angeles in 1942 and stayed there for several hours. They shone spotlights up at it, and the military even tried shooting at it, their gunfire apparently having no effect. The first crashed alien craft were recovered by Naval Intelligence and the Army OSS in the 1930s. These led to the formation of MJ-12 under James Forrestal, one of many brave men that have come forward with the information, only to be deemed insane by powerful forces within the military and locked away at the infamous Bethesda Naval Hospital, where many, many witnesses were locked away for telling the truth over the years. Forrestal was later pushed out of a 5-story window, and his death was written off as a suicide. After the War of the Worlds radio broadcast and subsequent independent studies, it was determined that the public could never be told the truth about aliens. Roswell was the first recovery of an alien being, a live alien being. It was also the first time anything like this had leaked to the mainstream public. Countless lies and cover-ups can't distract serious researchers from what's in the actual original reports. According to these reports, 4 alien bodies were recovered from the crash debris. 2 were dead, and 1 was badly injured and died shortly after. The 4th alien was found wandering the desert. They captured it and named the creature EBE, short for Extraterrestrial Biological Entity. And luckily, doctors learned enough about its anatomy from the dead aliens to keep it alive for 2 years until it got sick and died. For the first year of captivity, EBE would not talk or communicate with humans at all. After a year, the creature finally became responsive, but it would lie often, so there was no way to know if it was telling the truth. A pattern was soon noticed in the creature's responses. It always gave an answer that would result in a positive response, as if it knew what you were thinking and told you what you wanted to hear. If no answer could elicit a positive response, the creature would not respond at all. This became very frustrating for the scientists who were trying to extract information out of this creature. Government-alien relations have always been like this. There are no secret alliances. Little information is ever obtained about their mission or intentions. Therefore, our military must deem them hostile. There are hundreds of other reports of crashed alien craft. Nearly every country in the world has its own Roswell-type incident, which resulted in the U.S. military coming in, clearing everything out in the area, covering it up, and not answering any questions about it. The Kecksburg, Pennsylvania case is a prime example where NASA is currently being sued in federal court after refusing to comply with a Freedom of Information Act request for documents related to the case. The Roswell incident in July 1947 spawned a media and public frenzy that led to the formation of the National Security Act, the top-secret NSA, and turned the Army OSS into the CIA. Several top-secret reverse engineering programs took place at Los Alamos during this time, where scientists were told they were examining Russian or Japanese technology and asked to figure out how it worked. In 1955, Area 51 was created, and then in 1958, the government created a public-friendly space administration called NASA to cover for the real space program that was being run under NACA. Research was limited and funding was small. Some say the idea was to release the technology in steps, a little at a time, but I don't think they planned it that way at all. Just because NASA has actual physical specimens for study doesn't mean that they understood what they were dealing with the first time that they looked at it. They would have had to understand the science behind how these things worked, science that wasn't known to the mainstream world until now. Our understanding of science has now reached the point where we have stealth technology, we have anti-gravity drives that can bend space-time by spinning superfluids at relativistic speeds. The implications of technologies like interstellar space travel alone suggest that alien visitation is possible. Combine that with the possibility of aliens existing and you'll find your answer. So why are they here? They are here to study and observe us for scientific reasons as well as military ones. We are a threat to them. We are terrorists who manufacture and possess nuclear weapons of mass destruction. We have stockpiled enough nuclear missiles to destroy the entire planet, yet we call ourselves intelligent. Furthermore, the people that we put in charge of these nuclear launch codes have reported that their bunkers and silos were infiltrated by UFOs, which removed the nuclear material from all the warheads. There have been reports of UFOs chasing down ICBMs and flying around them, shining a laser to disarm the warhead and remove the radioactive material. Now, either this really happened, or the government is hiring mentally unstable people to control the fate of the world. But that doesn't explain what made the plutonium and uranium disappear. You know what I mean? With a primitive and violent species like ours, I understand why the aliens would adopt a strict non-relations foreign policy. Non-relations is the best foreign policy one can have. They study us, monitor us, and try not to give us any information so they can observe us evolve more naturally. Some even say that they have a giant supercomputer that has recorded all of Earth's history and can play it back for you, any part of it. The F-117 stealth fighter was around for 30 years before they revealed its existence to the public. We usually have to wait until someone dies or spills the beans to get any answers, and 30 years is a long time to keep a secret. By this estimate, I would say that our government scientists were beginning to understand the intrinsic structure of these materials they were examining sometime back in the 1980s. I would like to ask any scientists who may have worked on any projects like this to step forward or send me any information on what they know. These chips would be silicone-based and sparkly, and some turn invisible under flash photography. You would have lost your job sometime before the Iran-Contra scandal went down, when your funding was cut off to pay for secret wars for globalization once they knew they had the technology to microchip everybody. By the 1980s, these top-secret research programs required several $100 billion a year to fund annually. How is this all paid for? The most contrived racketeering operation in political history, the war on drugs. We all know that drugs are bad for us. Some people choose not to care and do them anyway. Drug use is a social medical problem, yet we have laws that make it a criminal problem. Compare this to Prohibition in the 1920s, when Al Capone ran the Chicago mob on bootleg liquor. The rise of organized crime was a direct result of the increased black market value of the drug, and thus potential profit. Drug dealers would be forced to get regular jobs if they couldn't make more money selling drugs. But it's the people bringing drugs into the country who are making the real money, and it's a conspiracy at the highest levels of government. The DEA is to eliminate the CIA's competition. The most ingenious part of the plot is how it promotes bigger government and makes people demand a police state as the drug problems grow worse. The problem is they send marijuana users to jail, where they meet 500 other drug dealers and make connections. While locked in this cage together, they teach each other criminal behaviors and how to be smarter at getting away with them, and young impressionable men who came in on petty pot charges get introduced to cocaine and heroin. Many hardcore drug addicts say that they tried it for the first time when they were in prison. The criminal justice system only breeds criminality, and the judges and prosecutors who pretty much don't care because it gives them a job. Helping a man by locking him in a cage like an animal? These are smart people in these positions of power, and they know what they're doing. They would also rather turn a blind eye to the reports that the CIA has been smuggling drugs into this country, laundering the money through Wall Street firms and a very shady bank in Pakistan called the Bank of Credit and Commerce International, which was shut down in the early 1990s. During the 1980s, the secret government ran several operations which were partly uncovered during the Iran-Contra hearings, which involved running drugs to pay for weapons which were then given to terrorist groups, who would then attack other countries with the weapons we gave them secretly, just so that the people would call for help and America could come to the rescue. Sure enough, a bunch of people got caught taking hostages, and, well, we can all go look up the history. However, something the history books don't tell you is that the guy who was hired to investigate the Iran-Contra scandal for the government is tied to the entire operation through a secret society known as Skull and Bones. He swept the CIA drug dealing thing under the rug and said a few bad apples were sorted out, but everything is fine again now. He later would allow the younger Bush to steal the 2004 election without any protest. Bush had also stolen the 2000 election against Al Gore, and this was a hot topic in the press in August and September of 2001. In May of 2001, the Disclosure Project came forward with over 400 former military and government officials claiming that they had worked on black projects with UFOs within the military and government, and were beginning to prompt the newly elected Bush and his Congress to open congressional hearings and investigations into the entire matter of UFOs, aliens, and extraterrestrials. At the same time, peace protests were threatening to end wars everywhere, and the Taliban had begun burning all the opium fields in Afghanistan, so the secret government's heroin operation was running dry. All of these things sort of came crashing together at once, and a plan that had been underway for nearly 30 years was rushed into action. On 9/11/2001, Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld made their dream of a new Pearl Harbor come true.
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, big brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. This is the UFO news for today. We're going to start off here with an article over at Examiner.com. This is Roger Marsh. Several Missouri residents, witnesses traveling southbound on I-435 stopped to observe as many as 125 low-flying Orient objects that moved up the tree line and traveled about the speed of a helicopter, according to May 6, 2011 testimony from the Mutual UFO Network Witness Reporting Database. All of the objects moved from the north low on the horizon and then moved south, each object splitting into 5 smaller objects before moving into cloud cover. As they spread and slowly began to disappear into the clouds above, a larger and brighter orange object at a faster speed, about 1 to 2 degrees above the horizon, behind the tree line, and then, as it started to ascend, split into 5 smaller orange objects. Again, radical in flight without formation, and slowly ascended into the cloud cover. The reporting witness stated this occurrence about 20 times over about 25-minute span. They all came from the north to south and then turning towards the east and then into the cloud cover. The event occurred over a 25-minute period, stopped after the largest object was seen, also splitting into 5 smaller objects. At one time I observed over in 15 in the sky at one time. At approximately 9:58 p.m., the largest ball at the fastest speed flew, split into 5 smaller objects, then followed the same path as the previous objects, and then the event seemed to stop. There were other vehicles on the shoulder of the highway observing the event. I got one person's name and phone number, and the next day he related that he talked to another individual who also saw the phenomena. Okay, moving from that, we have another story up at the Examiner. Again, this is Roger Marsh. It says that an Illinois witness watched a translucent sphere about the size of a beach ball float 40 feet overhead that seemed to be pausing over each rooftop as it moved along, according to May 15, 2011 testimony from the Mutual UFO Network Witness Testimony Database. The witness looked into the sky with night vision equipment just above where his game bird's pen is on the property after seeing that the animals had been disturbed. After observing the sphere, the witness looked out again without the night vision equipment and could not see the object. The witness described the object. You could almost see through the sphere and it glowed. More on the outer edges of its outline, the witness stated. I quickly pulled the scope down and looked right above me to try to see it, but could not without my naked eye at night. I required it in the scope and continued to observe it, floating directly over my neighbor's home, pausing briefly and then continuing on to the next neighbor's rooftop, again pausing. I lost sight of it within a minute or 3 or 4 minutes, and made several attempts to reposition myself to locate it, but could not. The movement of the animals first caused the witness to look in the particular direction. The thing I remember just before I saw the object was, I have a pen of game birds which roost at night. Just before I saw the object, my birds became very active in the pen. It made me wonder if a critter or coyote might be near them. At that moment, the sphere became visible to me over my head as I was pointing to the scope back near the pen to see what got them going. No town name was mentioned in the MUFON report, which was filed on May 15, 2011. The event occurred on May 4th. The above quotes were edited for clarity. Next article here is out of UFO Digest. This was Tony Elliott. 3 important dates in UFO research. In the annals of modern-day UFO research, there are 3 important dates that come to mind. 1. The first atomic bomb test, 7/16/1945, at the then Alamogordo bombing and gunnery range near the town of San Antonio, New Mexico border, known as Trinity. 2. The first modern-day sighting of UFO 62447 by Kenneth Arnold while flying near Mount Rainier, Washington. And 3. The Roswell crash, 7/2/1947, where allegedly an extraterrestrial spacecraft crashed in the desert near Roswell, New Mexico. With these dates in mind, it seemed that the detonation of the first atomic bomb, which was seen and unseen radiation into space, caught the attention of extraterrestrial beings from beyond our solar system, which signaled that the human civilization had become capable of producing weapons of mass destruction. The Trinity test also made them aware that not only were we now able to destroy ourselves, but may also soon become capable of interstellar space travel as well in the coming centuries. It was just under 24 months between the Trinity test and the first sighting of the flying discs. The timeline suggests that either it took the light and radiation some 12 months to reach them, and 12 months for them to get to Earth, or 24 months to reach them, and they immediately came in vehicles which can cover vastness of the universe in no time at all. Thus, extraterrestrial civilization has to be within the range it would take light to travel within a 24-month period of time. Since light travels 186,000 miles per second, the distance of the extraterrestrial civilization would be as follows. 186,000 miles per second times 60 seconds. It's 111,600,000 times 60 minutes. That would be 669, 605 zeros times 24 hours in a day. Well, it says the closest star is Proxima Centauri, estimated a little over 4 light years from our sun, in the neighborhood of Alpha Centauri. It has been long suspected that life may still exist in this area of the universe. There's much more to this article. You can catch it at our website, firstcontactradio.com. Here we have another Roger Marsh. Bright glowing object hovered over Joshua Tree National Park. A California couple visiting Joshua Tree National Park reported that they observed a brightly lit, elongated object that hovered, then moved straight up and then disappeared into a black cloud, according to May 15, 2011 testimony from the Mutual UFO Network Witness Reporting Database. On our way home to our hotel, but still in the park, my wife spotted a very bright glowing object sitting low in the clear blue sky. The witness stated the glow may have been intensified by the setting sun. Above the object was a large dark cloud. They followed the object's path for about 5 to 10 minutes until it disappeared into the black cloud. No images or videos were included with the report. The incident occurred at about 7:30 p.m. on May 14, 2011 in Joshua Tree National Park, which is located in southeastern California. It is named for the Joshua tree, yucca trees, forest native to the park. It covers a land area of 789,745,000 acres, or 1,234 square miles, an area slightly larger than the state of Rhode Island. And last but not least here, just to give you a bit of a heads up, it seems that there's a prankster out there. His name is Anonymous. Hey, let's figure who that one is, huh? There's not too many of those online. Who's been doing some pranks, and they've put together this program apparently called Operation UFO. And it's one of their latest pranks, and what they want to do is on May 22nd at around 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the operation will commence with, the plan is simple: flood UFO websites with fake reports of a triangular UFO and sit back and watch the world go crazy. So, in the midst of all the other craziness going on, there's one more piece of the puzzle, a UFO prank. Okay, so there you have it. There's our UFO news for today. I'm going to jump to another song here, and when I get back, we're going to give you some updates on what's taking place in the Midwest. The name of this song is called, let me get it all situated here. Where is it? Here it is. It's called Roswell. I'll be right back. Enjoy.
July 8th, 1947.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw it. Up above the clouds, it was a silver shiny disc floating high above the ground. Then I saw them waving to me. It was E.T. and his family. Something happened, a missile from the ground. The sky and shot the UFO down. Roswell, you didn't make it home. Roswell, Roswell.
Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw a UFO shot down. It was a silver shining disc, broken in pieces on the ground. Then I saw them lying there, bodies scattered everywhere. Something happened, a military show, picked up the pieces and the case was closed. Roswell, you didn't make it home. Roswell, you didn't make it home.
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio.
One day, as I was looking to the sky, I began to think for myself, what if another ship comes down to take E.T. home? Then it occurred to me, maybe this is Earth's destiny. Something like this won't happen anymore. No more missiles, no more UFOs down. Roswell, you didn't make it home. Roswell, you didn't make it home.
Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
All right, that was Roswell. All right. Here we are. We are back. FirstContactRadio.com. So, in the Midwest right now, they've got these exercises taking place. They want to simulate the earthquake that would take place along the New Madrid fault line, New Madrid seismic zone, as they call it. Here's what's going on. Let me play this for you, and you can get caught up if you don't already know.
Disaster drill. Local emergency officials are planning for a worst-case scenario in what is one of the biggest disaster drills in this area's history, involving people from all over the state. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Brown.
And I'm John Johnson. We're going to begin this evening with a look at a major disaster drill that has just begun right here in Meridian, featuring people from all over Mississippi.
Imagine for a moment the kind of earthquake that hit Haiti last year, hitting in Mississippi, or hitting right here in Meridian. It's not as far-fetched as you might think. And officials are preparing this week in case that or some other major disaster occurs in the near future. For more on our top story, we turn now to News Center 11's Chip Scarborough. He's live at the Meridian Police Training Facility where the action is taking place tonight. Chip, what's happening?
Hi there, John and Lindsay, and since we spoke to you at 5 o'clock, we've seen even more first responders coming out here. Now let me step out of the shot, and you can see where crews have set up tents and generators. They're going to be working well into the night here. And for more on what they're going to be doing out here tonight once it gets dark, I want to bring in Tim Miller now from Homeland Security. And Tim, if you would, just kind of walk us through what crews are going to be doing out here tonight once it gets dark.
Oh, well, as the night goes on, we'll have National Guard units from Georgia and Florida doing decontamination on some of our patients. We'll probably decontaminate about 150 patients tonight, so it'll be a big operation.
All right. And again, what else is going on out here? I know there is a facility that crews are going in and pulling people out of. Tell us a little bit about that.
There'll be some search and extraction of victims tonight. The bulk of the exercise will start tomorrow, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning possibly, and run for about 30 hours straight.
All right, Tim Miller with Homeland Security, thank you.
Thank you,
so
sir.
Again, crews are out here practicing drills. They're going to be taking a break this evening a little after 11. They'll pick back up at 4 in the morning, and as Tim said, they're going to go all the way until noon on Wednesday. Certainly going to be an exhausting process. We are coming to you from the training facility just off Highway 19 in Meridian. Chip Scarborough, News Center 11.
All right.
Most of the danger from earthquakes in Mississippi comes from the New Madrid fault line, which is about 200 miles long and ends near the Mississippi-Tennessee border. It's centered in New Madrid, Missouri, but shocks from New Madrid quakes have been felt all over Mississippi.
All right. That is an update there of what is taking place. Let's see, I have something else here. There's another one as well. Listen to this.
Disaster exercise for states along the new Madrid Fault. They were just here last month conducting earthquake drills. After seeing what happened in Japan and Haiti, should we be worried? News Force Andre Hepkins is asking the experts if it's time for St. Louis to sound the alarm. Andre.
Vicki, I'm standing underneath 4064, part of the infrastructure to St. Louis and its suburbs, parts of which could come crumbling down in the event of a big earthquake. Tonight I spoke to a city spokeswoman about concerns about earthquakes, and she told me due to the possibility next week local, state, and federal authorities will simulate a response to a 7.7 magnitude earthquake. Earthquakes have rocked Haiti and Japan. And as we get ready to recognize the bicentennial of the new Madrid earthquakes that did major damage in and around Missouri 200 years ago, many people in our region wonder if we're ready for a seismic shift that could send shockwaves through St. Louis and beyond.
It's unsettling, more than anything.
I don't think that we're really prepared for something of that, that magnitude.
Just last month, Homeland Security officials came to St. Louis to stress the importance of being prepared just in case the big one hits. And next week, they're coming back again.
Earthquakes are fairly infrequent, but when they come, there could be some reasonable level of damage.
When was the last significant earthquake in this area?
Well, the last really serious earthquake here was in 1812.
The chair of Washington University's Earth and Planetary Sciences Department doesn't think Missouri is in any immediate danger of a significant earthquake, but since the state is on the new Madrid fault line, local leaders should always err on the side of caution and be prepared just in case of a quake.
It's lower than California. It's lower than Alaska. It's probably lower than Seattle and Portland. Okay, but it's higher than some other areas like Minneapolis or Chicago.
In St. Louis, Andre Hepkins, News 4.
All right, so that gives you a little bit of a update of what they are doing. They are out there. They're doing these exercises, and hey, exercises are a great way to keep yourself sharp. Sports teams do it. Students do studies for tests. People prepare themselves for work all the time. So it is a good thing they're doing this. The issue at stake is not that they're doing the exercise, but if there was something else behind the exercise that people should be concerned about. You see, it's not uncommon for FEMA to have an exercise, and the very thing that they're having the exercise for actually happens. It's happened over and over throughout the history of their involvement with activities. They were at 9/11 on September 10th. They are to take care of the 9/11, the World Trade Center incident. They were with Southcom out there in preparation for the earthquake in Chile. There was other non-FEMA related exercises that were taking place, like in London, where they were out at the subway, and the actual subway and train where they were at actually got bombed while they were doing the exercise, and so on and so forth. These things happen. So that is the concern. And then you have the researchers who have been tracking the radar and the weather patterns and are finding irregularities enough to say that there is something being manipulated. And if the weather is being manipulated, then it now starts to lend a different idea to what might be going on. Do they know something more at FEMA that others don't know? Is there some sort of a plan in motion? Because this isn't like they just threw this together. There's talks and there's documents and papers and information that's been discovered that they've been planning these things for some time. So either they knew that there was some incident that was about to occur, or something that they want to make happen. Either way, it has a lot of people suspicious out there. This is a video. It's a private investigator who's been looking into this and giving updates. So I want to play his latest update. It was just put up here today. And let me see, is that today? Yeah, it was just uploaded here today. Let's see what you think of this.
Private Investigator William Zabriskie from Minds Conspiracy on Blog Talk Radio. Look, talking about the New Madrid fault line, the facts are there. I'm an investigator. This is what I do. I put a lot of time into this. They're flooding the levees. They've got people in Mississippi that are already evacuating the area. They got floods over there. The weight of this water on a sometime between August and November. They've been inducing, triangulating the frequency from the HAARP program into that fault line. Starting out early in this year, the birds turned up dead, so I investigated that. I did some clips on YouTube here for that, also in my show. So, all the signs are there. If you don't want to believe it, if you think, this Earth is fine, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know all the mechanics of it. I'm an investigator. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a prophet. And I'm definitely not part of the Illuminati that knows what the plan is here. So all the signs are there. You can check this stuff out yourself. There's a guy, I think he's called Patriotic Space, here on YouTube, Patriotic Space. He's got the best information, I think, out there at all on the New Madrid fault line. So you can give him a look, and I think he's got something up there about a half an hour long on this, if you want to get all the facts in. But, yeah, I'd say this thing looks pretty serious, and I'd be taking this into a high level of consideration if you're there or if you've got family there. There's also the Navy has a map of future America. You can pull that up, do a Google search on that and look for that. And, I live in Florida here, so, according to that map, it looks like Florida's underwater. There's also a fault out in California, San Andreas Fault. That's underwater as well on that map. So these are things you can find out yourself as well. But I've got, I'm doing shows on this. I'm on Blog Talk Radio, Will ZPI, or type in Minds of Conspiracy. I wish you guys the best. If you don't think this affects you, think again. It could be a worldwide thing. I'm a Christian, so, something like this, I take into consideration the very real possibility that it could, usher in the tribulation. So if you want to look at some of my other shows or my studies, I've got other videos on here. You can look in the archives and Blog Talk Radio. And, I'm busy doing a lot of things these days. So, all I can tell you is check it out. And, most of these people here that are, I don't know where they're getting their information. I've compiled mine based on factual information. If your conscience is seared by a hot iron, I don't know what to tell you. Go watch Dancing with the Stars. So, until next time, God bless. Take care.
All right, William Zarisky. Very good. Thank you very much for those updates. You can see there's a concern. And let's see. You can also go, Dutch Sense is another one that has some good information up there. There's other researchers. You can look up HAARP if you go to YouTube or Google it. And there's various things going on. One of the interesting things that was pointed out, let me play a little bit of this. There's been apparently a lot of airplane crashes recently. Some are maybe attributing this to things taking place in the air with the HAARP, how it might be affecting their instruments and so on.
I just wanted to bring you my daily update. Right now we're looking at RSOE. I will provide the links below, like always. But what I want to bring your attention to is America here. And as you can see, all these planes are having issues all throughout the country. You guys, they're using HAARP like crazy here. Now also, we have a couple different earthquakes down in here, guys, that in a pattern I haven't seen. Okay, we had a 4.8 in Colombia, 4.7 in Jamaica, Mexico, 4.5, and this is the one that kind of gets me. 10 kilometers. Mexico, out in the water. Usually that is associated with HAARP. That's what I said in my video about Japan. But really what I wanted to bring your attention to are actually those earthquakes. We have planes that are going down all over the United States, probably due to the HAARPing that's happening at the moment. We have historic flooding happening on the Mississippi River. You're not seeing this on MSN right now, or MSM, guys. mainstream media, no. They're just telling you a little bit about it, you guys. There's a lot of stuff going on. Okay, we have USGS with their trucks in Missouri right now as I'm speaking to you guys. Okay, guys, there's some serious stuff going on. Now, always in America are these airplane accidents. They're always in America. I rarely see them in other places.
All right, you get the idea. These videos are all going to be up at our YouTube channel there, youtube.com/First Contact. And here you can also see that there's, you can pull up the IntelliCast and you can check out the weather here. But what some researchers are noticing are these HAARP rings and these scalar squares that appear. Basically what happens if you just take a look at the map, you can go ahead and you can turn it on and you can get it playing in its loop, slow, medium, or fast, and just watch. And as you're watching, you'll start to see some very interesting things taking place on the map. You will see these little circles will just show up, these little blips, and disappear. Or you'll see these patterns which show up, which are actually like squares. And looking at them, you know that they're not normal weather patterns because it shouldn't be like that. Even myself, who is not a researcher of the weather by any means, looks at that and know that that looks abnormal. And that's what a number of people are finding out. And as they're noticing these different patterns, these HAARP rings and these squares that are showing up, they are usually seeing that within a matter of time after that there is some crazy weather that comes into those areas. So definitely something to think about. Definitely something to think about. Now, I know that we're going headstrong into all of the exercises in the middle of the country, but we don't want to get so distracted also from some of the other events that are taking place out there, which is the 9/11 truth event. You see, all of these things do fit together. When the country starts to get in an uproar and the people of the country aren't happy and they're complaining, there always seems to be something that happens, some sort of an event that calms everybody down, takes everybody's attention off of what's going on. 9/11 is a big issue. 9/11 was a false flag event that took place. It's been out there by the Truth Movement, Richard Gage, AIA, Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, and a number of others are still moving forward with this information. And at the same time that you're doing this, you have other agencies which are trying to downplay the information, and people are getting upset. And then you have the announcement that bin Laden was killed, and suddenly it takes all of the 9/11 information and kind of puts it aside again, because the media starts to play up the whole story about 9/11 was the mastermind. He sat in the cave with a stick and he drew in the sand and he said, you go here, you go there, and we'll defeat the best military force on the planet because, us cave dwellers are smarter than those with all their technology. Apparently, that's what we're supposed to believe. And now we're in a situation where everybody's glorifying the great Obama for doing his killing duty, apparently, to take out somebody who was reported dead 9 times before that. So, pretty easy to kill somebody, Obama, when they're already dead, huh? Good job. Way to go. So, that being said, we need to pay attention to all these different things which are taking place. This is a scientist, I believe, for A&E for 9/11 Truth, who's going to give a little bit of a testimony.
My name is Lynn Margulis. I've been doing science every day since I was about 16 years old. I teach at the University of Massachusetts. I have a PhD in genetics, but I really do much more geological things these days. In 1999, I was a recipient, one of several, of the President's Medal of Science from William Clinton, and 2 days ago I received the Da Vinci Award, that is the membership in the Da Vinci Society, and quoting them, the society is for the study of thinking is proud to announce that they're giving me this award, and it is the goal of the society is to develop a world-class thinking curriculum and to promote excellence in thinking by developing an honor society for the world's greatest living thinkers. That's somewhat of an exaggeration, but they gave me that medal. I reconstruct the past, natural history, from clues taken to be representational, and that's exactly what we're doing with reconstructing of why the buildings were destroyed in 9/11. Taking clues that you think are representational. That's in a historical science, that's what must be done. The thing that's most important about science is that it's a way of knowing. And it's a way of knowing that anyone can participate in. Of course, they have to have some background and they always develop more. But it's a way of knowing about anything. And it's at the end of any kind of science activity, people will agree that they have collected evidence that illustrates a hypothesis, and if the evidence is contradictory to the hypothesis, one has to abandon that hypothesis and look for another one. And one must, in testing any hypothesis or trying to establish it, consider all of the relevant evidence, which may come from all kinds of places, observations, measurements, and so on. And insofar as people can be objective at all, they will come to the same sorts of conclusions. So science is a fundamentally useful and accurate and universal way of finding out about the world. So scientists always have to collect information, data, observations, and measurements around an idea that's being tested for its validity. And if all of those observations and measurements corroborate and are consistent with the basic idea, the idea then has got to be published and be available in an open and transparent way that others can criticize. If the hypothesis is really correct, the criticisms are stand up. That is, a scientist has no better friend than valid critics, appropriate critics to whom they respond. And if the criticisms lead to abandonment of the hypothesis because it doesn't fit, because the facts don't fit the idea, then the hypothesis must be abandoned and replaced with something more adequate. And as science goes on, the adequacy of the basic idea and the hypothesis is corroborated over and over again by lots of people from lots of angles, and usually generates sub-hypotheses or related ideas that can also be investigated. But of course, science is never secret when it's done right. I would say that there's no bad science. There's just lots of things that are called science that aren't science, because science is a way of finding out that is self-correcting and involves many people over and over again, the same observations or observations that are generated by the hypothesis itself. Anyway, these are kinds of rules that international scientific people will all agree on. Science isn't science unless it's published, unless it's openly published and made available for criticism by anyone who feels that they can criticize it. Okay, 3 buildings come down at almost the speed of free fall, which is the gravitational speed. And for 2 of them, it's because airplanes hit them. And for the 3rd one, it's a mysterious reason. That is, there's no really coherent hypothesis, except it's claimed that there are these fires in them. Now, the most obvious hypothesis for anyone looking at the films, and that was a lot of people, is that the buildings came down because there was very carefully controlled demolition with high explosives that had been planted many weeks, if not months, before. the first thing they do is ignore, in all cases, the most obvious and reasonable hypothesis that is consistent with all other destructions in a very short time of buildings. And what is worse is that all of the evidence was removed. You can't do science without evidence. Unfortunately, there was a lot of evidence about the pieces that the columns were broken into, the nature of the uniform nature of the dust. But very quickly, if this is a crime, I think everybody agrees it's a crime, evidence was removed from the scene of the crime. Well, if evidence is removed, no scientist can possibly reconstruct what happened. You can't do science when you are deprived of the evidence and when your hypothesis is the least valid instead of the most likely. When the most likely hypothesis in the case of Building 7 wasn't even mentioned, this is not science. So the claim is that it's something else. It's trying to prove preconceived ideas.
All right, we're going to stop right there. We've got the rest of her interview. It is on our YouTube page. You can get to it just simply by going to firstcontactradio.com. On the right-hand side, you'll see the link that says our YouTube channel. Just click on that, and it will take you there. Or if you want to go directly, it's youtube.com/firstcontactradio. So that brings us to the point of the show where, well, we're just about done for today. We're just about done. Let's do a little meditation. Let's kind of gather our minds together. You know, there's a lot of craziness in the world, my friends. We're still exploring the false flag event of 9/11, trying to figure that one out. While at the same time, we're in the midst of a possible another false flag that may take place, at least according to the concerns that are running on the internet. Now, there's enough information and concern out there to pay attention to. So, what I'd like you to do, my friends, is close your eyes for a moment, and I would just like you to imagine your mind like a sponge opening to the information of truth that is out there. See the word truth entering your mind. And as you see the word truth enter in your mind, see the ideas of lies leaving. See the doubts and the fears and the deceptions being washed away. And imagine as the truth enters your mind, like a light bulb, you become brighter. And you notice others around doing exactly the same thing. You notice them glowing bright with the truth. For the truth spreads, my friend. Spread the truth around and notice one person after another, spreading the truth, glowing bright with this light of truth. Now I want you to take a moment and just go ahead and send light and love to each and every one around the planet at this moment. Light and love to everyone around the planet. See and feel the love and light they are sending to you. Imagine that this love and light is going out now down into the planet. Send it down into the planet. Think good thoughts for the planet. Think healing thoughts for the planet, for she is in need of our assistance as well. And last but not least, just imagine how your day is going to go. Think about how you want your day to go. Think about going in and think about the end of your day. Think about leaving at the end of your day, getting ready to go to bed, a happy smile on your face, completely confident about how your day went, relaxed, refreshed, and fulfilled because of how smooth and easy your day went. That thought in mind, let's go ahead and bring your energy and attention back to the present moment. Back to the present moment. Ready to take on another day. And that is the end of our show. That's the end of our prayer and meditation. My friends, there's a lot going on in the world these days. Pay attention. For real, pay attention. This is real. We need to all stick together. We can all make this better. I want to send light and love to each and every one of you. I hope you have a great day. I'll be back tomorrow. Till then, take care of yourselves. Peace.